20 plus bicycle safety tips for the 21st century. You'll find helpful bicycle safety tips in this video, so you'll no longer have to worry every time you ride your bike. As a result of the COVID pandemic in 2020 and widespread lockdowns. 1 second here. I'm Gary. I love cycling and follow the sport and the pleasure of the sport. I also share what I have learned on my own and from others about this way of life. That's right. Cycling is a way of life when you really get into exercise and the healthy advantages of cycling. So if this video interests you, please subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I post my next video. Okay, on with the video. Cycling became increasingly popular throughout the world. In my opinion, I am glad to see more people riding bicycles. However, we must not forget about our safety and the safety of others around us. What are some things you can do in order to ensure your safety while riding? Let's find out. Part 1. Check your bicycle. You should check the roadworthiness of your bicycle before you begin your bicycle trip. The following tips will help. Do you have the right bike size? Proper sizing is one of the basic prerequisites for ensuring your safety on a bicycle. You might sustain injury if you ride a bicycle that is too large or too small. It is usually determined by your inseam length, which determines the size of the bike. The standover height of the bike should be lower than your inseam length, giving you around 2 inches of clearance when standing astride the bike. Loose bolts and nuts. Tighten them up. Generally, the screws on the bike do not loosen too much, but check them periodically. It does not require you to be a first-class mechanic in order to do it. I recommend that you get a toolkit or at least a 4mm hex wrench and a 5mm hex wrench. Pay attention to the following parts of the bike. There are 3 parts to a handlebar: the stem, the handlebar, and the headset. There are 2 parts to the saddle: the seat post and the saddle. Do the brakes work properly? When your brakes don't work properly, you can have a lot of problems. Before every ride, make sure they work properly. It's not good to realize in a downhill that you have no way to stop. That can be disastrous. Before you embark on your next bike trip, give them a try. Make sure the brakes are in good working order after replacing the tires, tubes. In fact, I have forgotten to close my rim brake release lever several times during my riding career. At least once a year, inspect your brake pads. Regular maintenance is necessary if your bike has disc brakes. Take it to your mechanic at least once every 6 months. Under and overinflated tires. If you ride with underinflated tires, you may end up with a puncture because if you hit a pothole or a rock, you will puncture your tires or pinch the tube. You may also end up damaging your bike's rim if you hit the pothole or rock. The comfort of your ride will suffer if your tires are overinflated. In the event that you inflate them past their breaking point, they may burst. Make sure you use high-quality tires and inner tubes. How do I determine the correct tire pressure? You should adjust the tire pressure based on your weight, riding style, and the tires you are using. Also the type of riding you are doing: mountain bike, trails, street and commuter travel. Damage to the bike should be checked. When you crash or hit a pothole during your ride, look for cracks on the frame, fork, or other parts, and make sure the spokes are not loose. Make sure that every part of your bike is in good working order in order to avoid any further issues, and be sure that your ride is as safe as possible. I suggest that if you crash a carbon bicycle, be sure that you take it to a professional who can do an in-depth analysis. A professional can tell if a carbon frame is damaged based on its sound. Find out more about how damaged carbon frames are assessed. Second part, get proper gear and accessories. There are a few bike accessories that can make a huge difference in your safety on your bike. Here are the most important ones. Wear a helmet. One of the most important things you can do to increase your safety when biking is to wear a helmet. A study conducted at a university found that the number of head injuries is reduced by 60% on average when a helmet is worn. Following the leading by example principle is important to me. When I ride a bicycle, I always wear a helmet. It doesn't matter if I ride 60 miles or to the grocery store. In 2018, 61% of bicyclists killed in the US did not wear helmets. 24% did not wear helmets ever. You can save your life by wearing a bike helmet. Please do not put your health at risk just because you would like to save a few bucks. I am pretty sure you do not make this mistake just for the sake of some discomfort and a few dollars. Also protect your eyes against bugs and debris getting in your eyes and either blinding you permanently or momentarily while riding. Wear high vision clothing, which is highly visible clothing. Do not make this mistake just for the sake of some discomfort and a few dollars in early morning or in the evening, but also during the day to be seen by traffic. If you can, avoid wearing black clothing on you. Don't put your life at risk just for a few extra dollars and a little discomfort. Use bike lights. Remember to equip your bike not only with the front lights, but also with rear lights. Thanks to bike lights, you will see what is up the road, and drivers will be notified about your presence. Use bike bell. I believe that bike bells are very useful, especially in urban areas, cities, and bike paths. By using them, you will be able to notify others of your presence. In this way, they will not be surprised to find that you have overtaken them. You will usually be able to be heard by people when you approach them, but sometimes they won't hear you coming. When approaching, ring your bike bell to let them know, especially for those who own dogs, children and their families, a group of people on roller skates, senior citizens. Additionally, there may be others who are unaware that you are present in the area. Third part, plan your route. You can significantly increase your safety if you plan your bike trip well. Here are a few tips. Make the most of your trip by planning ahead. Roads look very different from a car than from a bike. Planning your cycling trips is important when you are just starting out. In the beginning, I rode the roads I was familiar with, the ones I drove in a car. It soon became apparent that this wasn't the best course of action. It was very crowded. There were not enough room on the side of the road or curbs that were not wide enough. There was a bad surface, potholes, etc. If you are living in a city, then the situation is even more difficult. Here are some tips that will help you plan your trip in such a way that you can stay safe while traveling. You should avoid busy roads and intersections. You should avoid riding your bike during peak hours when people are riding to or from work. Make sure that you do not drive on paved roads that have too many bumps. It is recommended that cyclists avoid narrow roads and roads with no lane for cyclists. Use bicycle paths whenever possible. Last but not least, you should estimate your strengths well in order to be able to finish the planned route. Share your location with loved ones. Whenever I go for a long ride, I let my loved ones know where I am. This is a great habit that will calm them down a little because they will know where you are and whether anything has happened to you. The Strava app allows you to share your location during training. Additional applications include WhatsApp, Messenger, Find My Friends, and more. Part 4. Things to take with you. You will find things to take with you that will increase your safety while biking in this section. Food and water. During a long bike ride, it is important to replenish your energy. You will need more food and water the longer the ride. In order to prevent hunger strike, I always take more food with me than I need. It is recommended that you consume 30 minutes 60 grams of carbohydrate per hour of aerobic exercise on trainright.com, the equivalent of 2 bananas or 1 slice of toast with jam. Your weight, ride intensity, and many other